Welcome to the 2021 Giants Live Europe's Strongest Man, their self-proclaimed biggest show other than World's Strongest Man, happening tomorrow morning in Leeds, September 4th, 2021. So first and foremost, let's have a look at who the competitors are for this show. So we have Adam Bishop from Great Britain, we have Alexei Novikov, we have Luke Stoltman. Tom Stoltman, I saw on one of their videos very recently, had a positive COVID test. So their video was a little confusing because they seem to be going on with predictions anyway, including Tom in them. So maybe it was kind of a time shift back and forth that confused me. But from what I understood, Tom is out. So Iron Bibi will be a guest lifter only for the Log Lift Challenge, which is the first event of Europe's Strongest Man this year. Mikhail Shivlikov out with injuries as well, as we saw indicated during the Shaw Classic. Rauno Heinle will be competing. Irvin Toots we will have competing. Gavin Bilton will be there. Pau Dwyer, Graham Hicks, who also seemed to be maybe suffering with that groin injury again during the Shaw Classic. Hopefully he's in top form. We have Johnny Hansen stepping in for one of the injured guys, as well as Marius Lala stepping in for one of the injured guys as well. So those will be our lineup. Now, let's go into the event details really quick. We have 5 events. So the first one, again, is the Max Log Lift Challenge. The second one will be a shield carry, which was listed at 200 kilograms for max distance on Instagram. Then we'll have a deadlift, 360 kilograms for reps. We'll have a car walk, so that'll be a 450 kilogram Volkswagen Beetle for 20 meters for time, so who can do it the fastest. And then we end off with the Castle Stones that we've seen in other Giants Live contests this year. So that being said, let's move right into the prediction. So on the max log, I have Irvin Toots coming in last place here with 2 points. So Irvin at the 2021 Margiample International did 140 kilo log for 7 reps, which on a 1 rep calculator would probably come out to around 168. 2020 Europe's Strongest Man, he did 170, so he's right around that 170 mark. Moving on up, I have 2 points being split as well to Gavin Bilton. So at the 2021 Strongman Classic, he was 6.5 out of 11 points on a max axle at 170. Log is a little bit of a different, potentially, as Luke Stoltman would say, more technical lift. And he had 170 kilo log at 2020 Europe's Strongest Man as well. So again, around that same range, which is why I split the points with Irvin. Pau Dwyer at 2020 Europe's Strongest Man had 180 kilo log and a 169 at World's Strongest Man 2020. He had 150 for 5, which would be around 169, 170. So I'm splitting his points there as well. I don't think there'll be lots of steps in between, or else Pa could be a step above Gavin here, but I don't think there'll be more than probably 4 or 5 steps in the weights. So I'm grouping them together. 5 points will be the next tier up, and that'll go to Marius Lala. So at 2018 World's Strongest Man Group 1, he had 3.5 out of a possible 6 points, and that was a log for reps, 160 for 5, which would put him around the 180 kilo mark. I think Rauno Heinle also gets 5 points here. He may still be suffering from that leg injury that we saw in earlier Giants Live contest not too long ago. At 2021 Siberian Power Show this year, he did a 170 for 4, which would be around 185 or more kilo max. So I have him splitting 5 points with Marius Lalas. I think Adam Bishop gets 5 points as well. He has been improving, so Adam would be somebody that a couple shows ago I'd be putting in last place at overhead, but he has been steadily improving. At the 2021 Shaw Classic, he had 7.5 out of 16 points, so right around that middle range. It was 400 pounds there, so 182 kilos. And I think he did 2 reps. He did do 2 reps. Magnus Vera Magnuson made him do it twice. So whether you count the lockout or not, he did 2 reps, right? So World's Strongest Man 2021, he had 170 kilo, which was last, 1 out of 10 points. But that's what I'm saying. Like, very recently, seems to be really improving with the overhead. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. 5 points there. Johnny Hansen, I'm giving 7.5 points. So at 2020 Sweden Strongest Man, he did a 190 kilo, which put him at 9.5 out of 10 points. There's split first place. Then I think 7.5 points also goes to Alexei Novikov. Very good at overhead events. He might still be suffering from those knee or leg issues and maybe the concussion. Who knows? Hopefully he's past that and at full strength here. But at the 2020 Shaw Classic, he did 182 kilo max log, which was only good enough for 3.5 out of 10 points. But at the 2021 Strongman Classic, he had 9.5 out of 11 points on max axle. So again, a different type of lift, but indicative of his overhead pressing power. We then move on up the list. I think Luke Stoltman comes in with 9.5 points. I don't think he's going to win this event. I think actually Iron Bibby will win the event, and you'll see him all the way down at the bottom because, again, he's a guest lifter. And so you'll see I gave Iron Bibby the 11 points. There are 11 guys competing in this event, then it becomes 10 because Iron Bibby's not doing the whole contest. And so I don't think Iron Bibby breaks a record here. He may still have a little twinge of that bicep injury going on. Log a more technical lift than Axel, which he did break the world record on this year at Giants Live. And I also think after the mild controversy of him getting 3 chances on the Axel, I don't think they're going to give him that again this time around. So the probability sort of goes down. I think he will lift the highest weight on the log, but not break the record this year. So, again, moving back up to the top of the list, I gave Luke Stoltman 9.5 points, so that means he tied with somebody, and that is Graham Hicks. So, Graham, again, looking a little bit injured at the Shaw Classic, so hopefully he comes in strong and healed, and that, was a temporary thing. I don't know. I hope for the best there. But, again, he's a known monster with overhead pressing, with log specifically, and the 2021 Shaw Classic, he was 14 out of 16 points, which was 440 pounds, and that was with a visible injury. So, if he's at least partially healed from that, he could be doing dangerous things here. So that's my max log. Now we'll move on to the shield carry. The shield carry, I have Johnny Hansen coming in with 1 point in last place. At the 2021 World's Strongest Man Group 2, there was a loading medley, so carrying a shield could be akin to a loading medley, carrying loading objects if we couldn't find one in their past history. So that's what I did for a lot of the guys. He was 2 out of 5 points in his group in the loading medley. Gavin Bilton, I think, will come away with 2 points here. So at 2020 World's Strongest Man, he was 2 out of 5 points in the group loading medley. And as you remember, in 2020, it was that crazy one with the monster truck parts where you'll see Paulo Dwyer did really well there. So I gave him a lot of credit. Irvin Toots, I think, comes away with 3 points. So at that 2021 Marie-Jean-Paul International Loading Race, he had 4 110-kilogram sacks, and he was only 3 out of 10 possible points there. 4 points will go to Adam Bishop. So at 2021 WUS Strength Island, Bahrain, he was 4 out of 15 points in the loading race. So I'm going to give him 4 here as well. 5 points, I think, will go to Graham Hicks, again, unless he's hampered in his ability to walk with that injury. 2020 Europe's Strongest Man, he had 4 out of 12 points in the loading race, which was 100 to 120 kilos. Moving on up the list, Rauno Heimler, I think, comes away with 6 points here. So at 2021 Siberian Power Show, there was a medley that had 4 implements, 80, 100, and 100 kilogram, block press, and shield carry included there, and he had 11 out of 13 points there. So just one kind of caveat, Anthony Deal competed there, and he's middleweight, or was then, so not everyone Rauno beat was kind of at his weight class, but it's only one guy out of the whole crowd, so I don't take away too much from him there. I think 7 points go to Marius Lalas here, so he has a few different places in historical competitions we can check. So at that same competition, he was 8 out of 10 points on that loading race. He also did a shield carry, 9 out of 10 points there. And in 2018 World's Strongest Man, Group 1, he was 5 out of 6 points in his group in Circle of Strength, which could be a Zercher-type carry as well. So Marius gets a lot of points here, in my opinion. 8 points go to Luke Stoltman. So 2021 loading medley, Luke was 4 out of 5 points in his very, very tough group. So I think he walks away with 8 points here if he's fully healthy. Paulo Dwyer, who I mentioned earlier, at 2020 World's Strongest Man, was 4 out of 5 points in his group on that grueling monster truck part loading race. And, has a lot of, or at least multiple areas where he's done very well on this type of event. And I think Alexei Novikov is going to win this event. So at 2021 WUS Bahrain, he won the loading race, 15 out of 15 points. It was 3 implements, 100-kilogram tire for 15 meters, 120-kilogram stone for 10 meters, and a shield, which is what we're doing here. So those are my predictions for the 2021 Giants Live Europe's Strongest Man Shield Carry. Now we move on to the deadlift. On the deadlift, I think Irvin Toots will walk away with a split 1.5 points, 1.5 points, splitting that with Johnny Hansen. Neither one of them showing lots of deadlifting prowess in their history. And if we move up on the list, I think Luke Stoltman, who had 360 kilos for 1 rep on an axle deadlift at the Strongman Classic. He was injured, however, there, so I think he'll do a little better there instead of, 1 or 2. He had 2 points there. I think he'll do 3 this time, maybe even a little better if he's fully healed. Moving on up the list, I think Gavin Bilton walks away with 5 points on this deadlift. He did 3 reps on that same axle deadlift at the Strongman Classic, which was good enough for 5 out of 11 points, more or less mid-tier, which is what I'm giving him here. Marius Lalas, I'm going to give also 5 points. At that 2021 Marajan-Pol International, he did 6.5 out of 10 points. So the guys he's going against here is a few good deadlifters, so I knocked him down just a little bit, but a good deadlifter. And I think 5 points go also to Paulo Dwyer here. He did 360 kilos for 3 on the axle at that Strongman Classic, getting him 5 out of 11 points there as well. Rauno Heinla, who would normally be even a little higher than this, he's a renowned deadlifter, but carrying that injury unless he's fully healed, which would be wonderful, but he's usually very good in deadlift for reps. So at 2021 WUS Bahrain Axel Deathlift, he did 14 out of 15 points there. So again, he was injured after that. So that's why I'm not making him first or second place here. Graham Hicks, I'm going to give 8 points to. So at 2019 Britain's Strongest Man, he did a deadlift for reps and was 11 out of 13 points. So a great deadlifter is Graham Hicks if he's fully healthy coming into this competition. Alexei Novikov, I think, will walk away with 9 points here. So he did 6 reps on that 360 kilo axle deadlift at the Strongman Classic, which was good enough for second place, 10 out of 11 points there. And I think the winner, and honestly, if he were at full power, not coming off of such a difficult Shaw Classic show, I think at least some of these events suit Adam Bishop really well and make it really difficult for him not to win this contest. So when you have a deadlift for reps that's not extraordinarily heavy, and you also have the Castle Stones that he already won with that set of Castle Stones at a Giants Live competition this year, Adam's chances overall get really good, and I'll show you in a moment where I think he's going to place overall. So 10 points to Adam Bishop there. Those are my predictions for the 2021 Giants Live Europe's Strongest Man Axle Deadlift. And now on to the car walk. So when we talk about car walk, not everybody's done one. They don't happen that often, so I had to use yoke where I could find it as a close enough mimic to a car walk. Car kind of dangles around a bit more, as my friend Isaac from Hunger Smash Fitness taught me on his video. If you haven't subscribed to him, go over and do that now, and we'll take this opportunity to remind you that if you like this video, you should go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to me, and click the little bell notification and select all, so you know all about whenever I release any of these predictions or results videos with more detail and analysis that you'll find anywhere else on YouTube. So, moving on to the car walk, I think Irvin Toots comes away with 1 point there. I couldn't find any car walk or yoke in his history, but he did 0 the squad at 2020 World's Strongest Man. 2 points will go to Rauno Heinla. So at 2019 Arnold Europe, he super yoked 7 points out of a possible 18, so a little worse than mid-tier there. And again, with that leg injury, unless he's fully healed, I think he gets knocked down on a few of these events as compared to where we normally would place him. Paulo Dwyer at 2019 UK's Strongest Man Super Yoke was 4 out of 8 points. I'm going to put him with 3 points here. And then I'll give 4 points to Marius Lalas, who withdrew before the car walk at 2016 Europe's Strongest Man, but based on some of the other events I've seen him do that may be related, we're going to give him 4 points. I think Gavin Bilton walks away with 5 points on this car walk, so he's also 0'd the squad at 2020 World's Strongest Man, but was 5 out of 8 points on the Super Yoke at 2019 UK's Strongest Man, which may be one of the 2 that he won. So 5 points to Gavin Bilton. Moving on up the list, I think 6 points will go to Luke Stoltman if he's feeling fully well. 2021 World's Strongest Man on a 440 kilo yoke, which was part of the Giants medley. Luke had 7 out of 10 points there, so he did very well on an event that a lot of guys struggled, so 6 points to Luke. And we're getting near the top of the list, so I'm going to give 7 points to Graham Hicks. Again, if his leg's feeling well, or his groin, I guess it is. He handled a 1,117-pound super yoke at the very recent 2021 Shaw Classic. He had to drop it on lap 1, which was allowed. He was going against Big Z, who did it incredible on that super yoke. And then he bowed out at the turn before he was able to complete it. Good enough for 5 out of 16 points. But at 2019 UK's Strongest Man, he won the super yoke with 8 out of 8 points. So the yoke at Shaw was really heavy, and I don't expect the one at this event to be that heavy. In fact, we saw the weight earlier, and it's not 1,117 pounds. I think it's 950. 8 points will go to Adam Bishop. So 2021 Shaw Classic, he did 7 out of 16 points, so right around mid-pack, a little less. But again, that was a very heavy yoke. At the 2021 World's Strongest Man, he was mid-pack, 5 out of 10 points on the Giants medley with a 440-kilogram super yoke, very close to what this weight will be. So you ask, why am I giving him 8 points based on that history? Well, because at 2020 World's Strongest Man, he won the Giants medley that had the yoke and the anvil. So I'm going to chalk up the more recent performances to the fact that the Shaw Classic yoke was very heavy compared to the one that we're doing here. Adam's like that with the stones too. With the Giants live set of stones, he won last time, and with the Shaw Classic ones, he didn't quite win. You know, if the weights are a little bit less, he usually can do really well. And I think the same thing will happen on the yoke. I think the 2020 performance is more indicative of what he'll do. 9 points will go to Johnny Hansen. So a 2020 Sweden Strongest Man, it was a 430-pound super yoke for 20 meters, and Johnny had 9 out of 10 points there. And then I think Alexei Novikov wins the car walk. So 2020 Shaw Classic, it was the heavy one, the 500-kilogram super yoke, and he won it there. So there you go. So those are my predictions for the 2021 Giants Live Europe's Strongest Man car walk. Now on to the last event, the Castle Stones. So I think Marius Lalas will walk away with 1 point on the Castle Stones. In the 2018 World's Strongest Man Group 1, he did 3 stones only, so that's why I'm giving him the 1 point. Johnny Hansen, not a great stone lifter either. At 2020 Sweden Strongest Man, which he won, he did 190 kilo stone over bar for only 1 rep, which was only good enough for 2 out of a possible 10 points. I think 3 points will go to Rauno Heinla, so he did 5 stones in 28.72 seconds at the 2021 Giants Live World Open, which was good enough for only 3 out of 10 points. Although he was closer to mid-pack at WUS Bahrain for 7 out of 15 points, I'm going to give him 3 here. Again, taking into consideration the possibility that injury is still around. 4 points, I think, will go to Irvin Toots. So at 2021 WUS Bahrain, he was 6 out of 15 points. 2020 Europe's Strongest Man, 5 out of 15, so a mid-pack type of guy. And not coming in with any injuries that I'm aware of, which is why I put him a bit above Rauno. Otherwise, I would have flipped him around. Pao Dwyer did 5 stones in 22.66 at the Strongman Classic this year, and that was good enough for 4 out of 11 points. I'm going to give him 5 here. I think 6 points go to Graham Hicks. So at the Shaw Classic this year, he did 4 stones in 28.9. That was good enough for 10 out of 16 points. At the 2020 Europe's Strongest Man, he had 8 out of 12 points, which was 5 stones in just over 20 seconds. So Graham, fairly good with stones when he's healthy. 6 points there. 7 points go to Gavin Bilton. So he did 5 stones in 22.76 seconds at the 2021 Giants Live World Open, which was 6 out of 10 points. But the only guys who beat him there, who are also here, are Adam Bishop and Alexei Novikov. So I gave him a little bit more credit this time around. 7 points for Gavin. I think Luke Stoltman will come away with 8 points here. So he did 5 stones in 22.66 at the Strongman Classic this year, which was good enough for 7 out of 11 possible points. And he was beaten by Evan Singleton and his brother Tom Stoltman, who are not competing here. So 8 points go to Luke. 9 points, I think, will go to Alexei Novikov. So he did the 5 stones in 20.9 at this year's Giants Live World Open, which is good enough for 7 out of 10 points. And again, beaten by Evan Singleton and Pavlo Nakonechny, neither of whom are competing here. So 9 points for Alexei. And who's going to win the stones? None other than Adam Bishop, the guy who won this set of stones very recently at the 2021 Giants Live World Open. So this is the quote-unquote lighter set of stones. He did it in 18.81 seconds. And, he has a history of completing stones very quickly. He completed a run at 2021 Strongman Classic in 21:58. So I think this is Adam's event to win if he's coming in fully rested from the Shaw Classic, which is iffy, right? That was a very difficult, very heavy show. So what are my overall placing predictions? Let's take a look. So I feel like Irvin Toots will come in 10th place with a total of 11.5 points. And we saw the breakdown of why that is. I think 8th place will be a tie between Johnny Hansen and Gavin Bilton at 21 points. 7th place will go to Marius Lalas at 22 points. 6th place for Rauno Heinla, 23 points for him. 5 points will go to Pa O'Dwyer, 24 points for him, and I'm eager to see what sort of entertainment he'll bring this time. He's always great to watch. 4th place, I think, will be Luke Stoltman, 34.5 points for him, and that brings us to our podium. So, the Giants Live 2021 Europe's Strongest Man podium is 3rd place, Graham Hicks, if he's fully healthy, will come away with 35.5 points. I think 2nd place will go to Adam Bishop. Again, 2 of these events tailor-made for him. 37 points for Adam Bishop, putting him in 2nd place on the podium for Europe's Strongest Man 2021. And our Giants Live Europe's Strongest Man 2021 winner will be Alexei Novikov with 45.5 points. Again, if he's past all of his injuries, his concussion clearance, and all those caveats, I believe Alexei will win this show. So those are my predictions for Europe's Strongest Man 2021. If you have not done so yet, go sign up to watch the live stream. I'll put the link in the description below to the Giants Live Facebook page. And thanks again for joining me on my blog, Strongest Man. And of course, until next time, as always, ciao, homie.